Good evening, lovely tubers. White Mexican back again for another market watch for you guys. Today I'm going to be going over trap cards, a couple different ones, primarily continuous trap cards, but we're just going to get right into this. So starting out, I have Balance of Judgment here from Clash of Rebellions. There's two prints of this card. There was one from the Megatons and this one here from Clash of Rebellions. It's really cheap right now. First edition near mint, this guy's got two. It's like 15 cents, just well under $1. So just a really cheap card in general, like about a quarter a piece. Plenty on the market. It's pretty good. You can read it here. You can look it up. It's basically just a game shifter if you're behind here, and it's kind of just not really a very well-known Judgment card. It's pretty cool because it's got the God dude from Judgment and stuff. So anyway, something to look into. Moving on here, I got some burn cards, DD Dynamite. There's a couple different prints of this. Unfortunately, all of them are common. This is from the original print from the core set, Flaming Eternity. There's quite a few on the market right now. Really just be focusing on the first editions right here. This guy's got two lightly played first edition for under $1 for 83 cents. So you can kind of dig through here. This one has 4 for 90. So definitely get the first editions. The unlimiteds are going to be pretty much rendered useless, seeing how this card only came common, which kind of sucks, but definitely go for the first editions. It's one of the greatest burn cards, if not the greatest burn card that we have to date in the game. It's just so powerful, and the crazy thing is it is at 3 right now. It is completely undaunted by the ban list. Moving on here, I got another burn card, Curse of Darkness. This is just a ridiculous card against, depending on what you're playing. I mean, pretty much every deck plays magic cards, and if you can somehow make a deck, or if your deck revolves around traps or just not using a lot of magic cards, can just be a complete blowout devastation to your opponent. They take a grand damage for every magic card that they activate. It's continuous. Trap card, there's a couple prints of this. I think there's one common print from the Layer of Darkness structure deck, and then there was another rare version that came out of like Dark Revelations or something. But I like this one the best because this is the Invasion of Chaos, a really nostalgic old set. Original print rare. There's a couple here. There's 2 for 40. Again, this is something you want to solely focus on the first editions for this because it is a low rarity card. And there's a couple here for 40 and 45, so it's just a really good floodgate, so something to look out for. Its counterpart here, this one's cool because it actually came in a nice rarity, an ultimate rare, and even from an older set, Rise of Destiny Chain Burst. It's basically just the opposite of what Curse of Darkness is. It just busts out a grand for trap cards, so really good for trap-eccentric cards. It's easily destroyable, but it is what it is. It's just a cheap ultimate. The biggest thing why I like it is because it's ultimate rare, and it's just dirt cheap right now. Like the first editions, you get it under $2. They went up a little bit. I got tons of these, and I got them for like around the dollar mark, but they're still so cheap. All these first edition ultimates are under $2, so I would definitely look into this. Moving on here of a little lesser known common card. Unfortunately, this is another card that only came solely in common prints. There's a couple different common versions, but I'm going to be focusing on the original print from Pharaonic Guardian, a really old set as well. And you can read this here. You can look it up for it. It's basically like a never-ending compulse. You can keep on just bouncing your opponent's monsters back to the hand, and if it's an extra deck monster, it goes right back to the extra deck. So it's a really powerful card. It's continuous, and it's not once per turn. So anytime your opponent's monsters attack, you can just bounce them, depending on what you have in your hand. Obviously, you want to use this when you have a pretty diverse hand, maybe a bigger hand, but if you have a diverse deck with a lot of different card types, it's definitely a card to go with. I like it here. It's first edition. There's a couple first editions here. Really only this one. This one's the only one that's going to be like under $1. I wouldn't really pay more than $1 for this. This card has kind of been dwindling. But there is 2 here for 83 cents. So again, always go for the first edition on those. Moving on, kind of more to a newer thing. I don't like to really cover like not necessarily meta, but like popular cards. But this is, I know everyone's kind of, not everyone, but there's just few people talking about this. I think this is a highly underrated card, which is Strike. This reminds me of, it's not as competitive as evenly matched as of yet, but I think there's going to come a day where this is going to become quite a popular card, and his price has been dwindling ever since Savage Strike's release. I'm personally going to go in and buy mine at $10. They're about 11 right now. They're sitting at 12, and they're still kind of sitting at 12 right now. There was a moment when it was getting down to about $11, but it looks like it went back up to about 12. I'm personally going to go in at this card at $10, but definitely keep your eyes on this card. I think this card has amazing potential in the future, maybe even now, depending on what you're playing. And it has amazing artwork, and it's a secret rare. Who doesn't love that? Moving on, another floodgate here, Imperial Iron Wall. There's several printings of this, but I want to primarily focus on the OTS. I love OTS cards, and there is an ultra here, an ultra rare card that came up from Joey's World, the Legendary Collections. But I personally really like the super rare, and the super rare is under $2 now, and there's quite a bit on the market, so it's a really good floodgate. It basically is like an anti-macrocosmos. Nothing can be removed from play. No cards can be removed from play. So it's a really good floodgate, and it's from an OTS pack, and it's super rare. So have at it. Another kind of cool card, a solo print from Ancient Prophecy, only common, Imperial Custom. This card basically protects your continuous trap cards. It doesn't allow them to be targeted or destroyed. Or it doesn't allow them to be destroyed, essentially. So a floodgate for your floodgates, it's kind of just unique in itself that it defends all continuous trap cards. There's a few here for 45 cents, first edition, so that's something to look at if you have a really trap-eccentric deck. A lot of floodgates, basically a floodgate defender. Moving on here, Macros Cosmos. So this is a really popular card. This card is infamously, possibly one of the most powerful trap cards and floodgates in the entire game. It is so good. There's a couple different versions, 6 different versions. Of course, everyone knows the legendary super rare and the dual terminal. The dual terminals they've been going up over the last couple months. They used to be like $1 a piece. Now they've just, gone up to about 4 here. But I want to talk about is the ultra rares. The ultra rares are still really, really beautiful. They're awesome, and they're cheap right now. The first editions are like $2, and there's 2 different prints that came out ultra rare, and it's like they're like $2 right now. So this is currently, well, I guess they kind of went up a little bit over here. So it's kind of expensive still. It went up. They used to be like $2. Let me check the other print here. I apologize. The raw yellow yellow packs. So yeah, they're like on the edge of $2. Like this one this guy has 5 for 2. First edition near mint, so perfect. I would pick these up. This is just such a powerful card. It's such a blowout card, and it's just like one of the greatest floodgates of all time, depending on what your matchup is. And right now, everyone knows it's limited to 1 on the ban list, but I know that everything has its day eventually, and it's going to come off the list sometime. So I would definitely look into this. Next thing I want to mention is Black Horn of Heaven. Now, there is an ultimate rare print, which has actually went up a lot now. It used to be like $1, $2. It was super cheap. I don't know why. I guess because numbers have been dwindling. Because it's an ultimate. I don't know. It's a really old set. It's like about 6, I think, now for about a lightly played first edition, 6 or 5 or something. So unfortunately, the time's kind of passed to get the ultimate. And there's a lot of different versions. There's an ultra, there's a secret. But what I want to talk about is the dual terminal. I'm an avid fan of dual terminal. Dual terminal numbers have just been dwindling over the years since Konami stopped making them. I know there's some sets that are more in circulation than others, but this is just a beautiful, beautiful dual terminal from Dual Terminal 1. I think this is a highly underrated card, and it's dual terminal, so that's always really nice. There's a ton of these on the market right now, so I anticipate this staying at this price, under a dollar for a while. I know I personally have several copies of these that I got under a dollar, and it's a dual toner card, it's a counter trap, and I just think it's a pretty diverse. I know there's a ruling that kind of changed. You can only negate inherit summons or something like that. There's certain things it can't negate, but all around, it's like a free judgment, a free solemn in a way, and I think it'll have its day one time. So for a dollar, I think it's worth it. Torrential Tribute. I'm going to be going into some old school trap cards now that just used to infamously be in pretty much everyone's main deck back in the day that everyone's kind of forgot about. I know they kind of been like power crept out or whatever have you, but I just still think that they are just all around powerful cards and that someday they're going to fit themselves back in the meta or side deck. And that's going to be a Torrential Tribute here. There's multiple versions. I personally like the Labyrinth of Nightmare Ultra Rares, but those are really expensive now, especially for not really expensive, but the first editions are like $12 to $13. So those first editions are expensive from the original prints. But to my understanding, there was I think two prints of secret rares. We're going to be looking at the secret rare here from Yugioh's World Legendary Collection 3. And it's like about $2, $2 to $3. It's kind of expensive right now. I personally wouldn't buy it at this price. I'm just putting this on the market watch because I wanted you guys just to be aware of it and look at it. A secret rare, first edition, Torrential Tribute. I would wait a little bit until it goes down to about maybe $2 is kind of the price that I would buy this at. Yeah, there's two secret rares. The other secret rare was from Legendary Collection Joey's World. That one's actually about $3 as well. So they're about $3-4 a piece. But anyway, it's just a blowout card. It's a dark hole in trap form, and you can play it on your opponent's turn. So I would just be looking on that, waiting for it to go down. Just keep it on your radar. Next is gonna be Bottomless Trap Hole. There's multiple prints of this, of course, but I want to be looking at the secret rare from Legendary Collection. You can tell by now I have a thing for secret rares. I really do enjoy secret rares. And, no one really talks about this card anymore. And it's back at 3. It's fully unlocked. And I still think it's a good card. It's gone up. I personally switched this to 3. Are all of these on 3 now? Okay, no. I personally I guess I switched this one to 3 for some reason. I don't remember why. It's about $3 right now. Is it? I thought it was cheaper than this. I personally wouldn't buy this at this price. Here we go. It's like $2. It's less than $2 right here. These are one-ofs, so you might have to stock up. But, I mean, it is like easily, it's like $2 for this. It's secret. You can get a first edition secret bottomless trap hole. I still think it's good, and I still think it's going to have its day. Next is going to be Floodgate Trap Hole. This card, I don't quite believe it's not as powerful as Bottomless. It's more of a stall card. But when it first came out, it was like $8-10, and now it's like a dollar card. I know it's kind of been power crept and no one really plays it anymore. But I think that it has some potential eventually. Obviously not right now, depending on what you're playing. But I still think it's a relatively good card for a dollar. I mean, for first edition, original print. There was a reprint in the Megatons, if I'm not mistaken, but we want to go for the original print first edition, and it's like under $2. It's like $1.25. So it is what it is for that card. Drowning Mirror Force. I side this card on a lot of my decks. I just think it's a blowout card. It's kind of hard to get off because you can only activate it when your opponent does a direct attack, so it's not going to defend your monsters. But if you're in a pinch and your opponent has a full board and you pull this off and you actually get this trap off, it just is so blowout. It completely resets their game state, clears their field, and they literally just don't have access. All their monsters completely go back to the deck, and they just no longer have those resources to utilize. And this is the original print, and it's under a dollar, or it's about a dollar, 120, 127. This guy has 128, 2 of them. First edition near mint from Shining Victories. One of my favorite sets, a really good set. Pretty old now, kind of hard to get, and it's $2 for the secret rare, and I just think this is a really powerful card, so I'll keep a lookout for that. Quaking Mirror Force, another counterpart Mirror Force card. So this is gonna defend your monsters, and it bounces everything back to the hand. I'm sorry, wait, is this the one? Okay, no, this isn't the one that bounces back to the hand. This is the one that puts everything in face down defense position. Anyway, um, this is pretty good too. I run this card a lot, kind of with Drowning Mirror Force a lot with a lot of my anti-meta builds. I'm an avid anti-meta player, and this kind of manages to get my side deck and my main once in a while. There's only 2 printings, both Ultra, if I'm not mistaken, and for the original Bosch, it's like $2, less than $2 for first edition. So, I just think that it's a good card. Compulsory evacuation device. So this got, completely taken off the list. It's at 3 now. It was at 1 for the longest time, and it got just unleashed. It's at 3. There's tons of different nice things. I want to, versions. I want to focus on the dual terminal common, and again, the Legendary Collection's secret rare. It's under $1. It's just so incredibly cheap right now. I know a lot of people don't play this anymore, but people forget that this is such a good card, and it's at 3. And if you're opponent uses all these resources to bust out this sick extra deck monster, and then you just slap it in the face and just bounce it right back with 1 card, and it's pretty hard to kind of counter this card. So there's the 2 secret rare versions here, which are like $1 for the first editions. And then there's also the dual terminal common, which is under $2. It's about $1.50 right now. It used to be cheaper, and that's just really cool. I really love secret and dual terminal. You'll kind of see that in my videos, so I'm kind of biased towards those rarities, but why not? Another dual terminal card here, Icarus Attack. Of course we have Twin Twisters, and back in the day it used to be MST, and people have Dust Storm, or whatever the trap card is called now, which is a really good card too. But if you want cards in your graveyard, if you have some graveyard effects, I think this is, and you have like a Winged Beast themed deck, this is just a really all-around good card. This is a rare dual terminal. Like I said, I got a thing for dual terminals, and this is not just a common, it's a rare itself, and it's just a really good card that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. There's not a whole lot of decks that are centered around Winged Beast, but it's gonna have its day when there's gonna be a top tier deck that's gonna be Winged Beast, and it's gonna want to run this card. And I mean, this is my personal favorite rarity of the card. There's quite a few. I think there's a secret rare. No, there's super rare, starfoil, gold, and then more super rares, more gold. Anyway, so yeah, this is by far the best rarity. Dual terminal rare, $1. Get it. I'm just saying it. You won't regret it. This guy has 5. Alright. Last card is going to be another kind of forgotten about card, is Malevolent Catastrophe. This card is so blowout, and no one plays this card. Obviously, it's going to be situational depending on what decks you're playing. If you're playing a very heavy back row deck, this card is just so blowout. It's basically a heavy storm in trap version, and it's completely untouched by the ban list right now. And it's so cheap right now. There's a couple different common versions, but this is the super rare version from the Legendary Collection, and you kind of see there's a theme here. I think there's a lot of good cards in these old school Legendary Collection reprints, and you can't get them anymore. They're gone. They're old now. So, and this is just so cheap. It's such a good blowout card. If you can pull it off, it could be pretty devastating for your opponent by clearing their whole field. I purposely put this one on 3 because it's a relatively cheap card, and you're going to want to get multiple copies to have. So, I mean, this guy has 50 cents. He has 3. There's a guy over here who has 4 for 51 cents. Of course, you're going to want to get the first edition prints of these. So anyway, that is my Market Watch day for some random trap cards that I think are pretty good to just take a look at and take into consideration. This has been a video by the White Mexican. We'll catch you guys in the next video.